It's just going to be a short sharing actually. It's just 1 hour, but I hope it will be useful for you to plan for your next semester. The reason, and I'm so thankful for to come as well, for inviting me to start the webinar series on teaching and learning this year. And I hope that the bits that I'm going to be sharing with you will be useful. So can I have my slides, please? Yeah. All right. Thank you. So I prepared some slides and I hope that all the slides are going to be available to you. And please let me know if you feel like you want to ask any questions in between. Please feel free to do so. We have a chat box, so type your questions in the chat box. I see so many familiar faces, familiar names actually in the participants list. So I'm really glad to see you guys again. A lot of you met me in the PGDIP, what do you call it? The PGDIP program. Yeah, so these are the main takeaways for today. I was asked to look at what are the things that we can learn from each other. In that we've already run most of our courses last year since March, April online. And, you know, it looks like we're going to be continuing this in the next year. So it doesn't seem to, it's going to be stopping, to be honest. Jadi, I think it's nice to have a platform to basically share. Yeah, so these are the two basically takeaways from today. Deconstructing the learning experience. What is it that our students faced when they were learning with us, online, and also how do we create an environment in which the students feel that it's like it's almost normal. It's not a new normal, but it's almost normal. Yeah. So how do we create that interaction space in order for people to be able to react to us and respond to us? It's not going to be the same as obviously in face-to-face classes. I think that is I think a horrible what do you call it? It's a horrible yardstick that we put onto ourselves if we compare what we do online and what we do face-to-face. Because when we expect the things that happen in our face-to-face classes, and we want to emulate exactly as that in online platforms, I think this is where we get really frustrated, because our perspective about, you know, being able to see the students, to see their faces, to see their reactions, the body language, the way that they react to our questions or even our slides, you know, those things we can't see because most of them would turn off their screens. So why do we put ourselves into such pressure that we want to see the same kind of reactions when we are teaching online? Yeah, so it's not going to work. So these are some of the things that I would like for you to think about, in planning for your new semester. So I want to ask you this one question first before we proceed to the rest of my talk today. What is one major challenge that you have faced since you first conducted remote teaching? So if you can, could you pull up the chat box right now and then write your responses? What is one major challenge you have faced since you first started remote teaching? The impact of teaching, connection problem, time management, student reactions, poor internet connection. You feel like talking to yourself. I know what you mean. Yeah. Students' behavior reaction, social presence, lack of motivation, feedback. Yeah, and we're not sure whether we're engaging or not, isn't it? Yeah. Students passive, student engagement, Not sure if students really watch and listen to lectures. Interesting. Adapting to technology skills. Yeah, that's true. And distractions are everywhere. That's correct. Yeah, difficult to engage. Getting sessions to be interactive. Yeah, that's more pedagogical. Thank you, Joseph. Bully. Wow, that's interesting. Interesting. I cannot control the whole class as usual. Yeah. Thinking students are there without being sure. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Now, if I can sum up a little bit, it's mostly about control. Yeah, it's mostly about control. It's mostly about we're not being able to, you know, sort of pace ourselves when we're teaching online. Like for instance, even now I'm talking to you. I don't know whether you're watching me or you're checking your Facebook or, you know, you're doing your Instagram post and stuff like that. It's that control that we don't have when we are teaching online. Yeah, that we are not able to actually see for ourselves that the students are actually listening to us, and that that void that we see from the blank screens. Instead of looking at faces, we're looking at blank screens and just their names. So we are not sure what are the things that's going on the other side of the screen as well. Yeah, because that's actually, you know, if you're teaching 100 students, there's actually 100 scenarios behind that screen that we don't know about. You know, there have been, obviously, if you read the news, there's been an increase in you know, domestic violence, parents losing jobs, and the kids have to step in, and all these things are real. There are real issues that students, you know, may not be facing when they were on campus. In campus, we also see students who are not engaged, even when they come to our lectures. Yeah, even when they come to our lectures, even when they sit in our tutorial classes. And we know this because there's many other things that's also going around in their heads while they are attending our classes. Yeah, so why is it so blown up when we are teaching online? Yeah, so these things, these issues are actually related to our psychological attachment to the screen itself, the screen culture, because when we see things on the screen, we expect things to be a bit more serious. Yeah, things has to be a bit more presentable, and that we expect all the good things to appear on the screen, and the not so good things are not going to appear on the screen. So those are the things which is expected. Yeah, because that is our screen culture. And when we teach online, suddenly we are on the screen. Yeah, and then we expect that all these values are also translated in the way that we teach, in that, oh, it has to be presentable, it has to be, you know, students have to react the way that we expect them to be, and they have to be on their toes. Yeah, basically. So ini yang kadang-kadang bila kita punya expectation is quite high, this becomes a frustration, and obviously it becomes a stress as well for us. Yeah. So this is from literature. I just want to share with you. There's tons and tons of academics who've been writing since the remote teaching, the emergency remote teaching began, yeah, in March, April last year. And they quoted the same things as what you guys wrote in the chat box. Technical issues is number one. I worked with a group of JPNS officers in April, May last year. And we wanted to find out how the teachers in Sarawak, 45,000 teachers in Sarawak, were coping with, you know, teaching online. And 90% of the data talked about technical difficulties. So we're not just talking about things that's happening in the schools, but also, you know, things at the university as well. So it's everyone's facing this. And if you read things from even the US, they are also talking about technical issues as well. Schedule problems, distractions everywhere, yeah, poor online content. This is one of the things that kept creeping up, but it's not actually highlighted as one of the foremost issues, yeah, in remote teaching. Poor online pedagogy. There have been many instances where parents are sitting with their the children, yeah, whether it's for school or university, you know, there have been many anecdotes of parents actually listening in, yeah, to how their children are learning. And we've also been getting comments or feedback from parents to say that you know, the way that we're teaching online is distasteful, yeah, because they are actually listening in. Kalau dalam bilik kuliah, yeah, kalau di campus, no parents are coming in. So this is again another challenge that we have never faced before. Yeah, jadi these are some of the things yang we have to get used to. Yeah, we have to get used to. And then this is also the reason why I always recommend anyone who talks to me, I always recommend jangan lama sangat on the screen. Yeah, jangan lama sangat on the screen. Use as minimal as possible. If you can record pendek-pendek. Yeah, so because this also helps us in the way that we deliver, yeah, the best version that we can when we are online. Lack of motivation, both on the parts of teachers and students, because yes, this is a new learning game. Yeah, it's a new game completely. If you're not used to teaching online, you're not used to talking to the camera, you wouldn't. This is a huge it's a steep, you know, it's a leap of faith really. It's a steep learning curve for a lot of us, yeah. Tapi you know what, semua orang is facing the same thing. Yeah, everyone on campus is facing the same things, but are we talking about it? Yeah, that's my question to you. Are we talking about these issues? Are we asking for help? Are we asking for training? Are we sharing our experiences with each other? Yeah, time-consuming resources. This one also came from a lot of countries yang mana ramai educators, they tend to be quite industrious, where, you know, they say, oh, I want to give all my 3-hour lecture, make sure it's all full 3 hours, and then I get the students to listen in, you know, live lecture, and then listen to what I have to say. So kadang-kadang those things akan affect, yeah, the way that the students follow the content that we are trying to teach them. Yeah, because dia terlalu lama, and then obviously it takes up you know, the data consumption that students have, the limited data consumption that they have. So yeah, it is a steep learning curve. This one is also reported in many literature. Isolation and disengagement. Yeah, isolation is also one thing that also I noticed the theme was creeping up, yeah, especially towards the end of last year. And then particularly macam Europe and America, they were going through Christmas breaks and stuff like that. So people felt that there was no social engagement at all. Yang mana bila kita dalam kelas, when students come into our class, what they do first is when they come in, they will talk to their friends, they put their bags, they take out their notepads, yeah, there's someone next to them. Yeah, there's someone to at least ask something. But when you're teaching online, you don't have that environment. They don't have anyone sitting next to them. Perhaps yang duduk sebelah tu mak dia ataupun adik dia belajar, you know, tingkatan 4 katakanlah. Yeah, so the environment is different. Jadi that's why a lot of times students are also struggling with this, to feel that they don't have people around them to support, yeah, that whole engagement process. So this is where kadang-kadang students feel that they are not motivated, yeah, to want to invest time and effort, yeah, into their courses. So I want to talk about yeah, your imagination. What is it that you would like, yeah, what is your ideal remote teaching scenario? So can you write what comes to mind right now in the chat box? What is your ideal? Kalau you dah tahu what happened last year, yeah, and all the challenges that you have faced, so what is it that you envision that would be an ideal situation for you to teach remotely? Can you write that in the chat box, please? Yeah, small classes, Dr. Khairul. Yeah, small classes is quite ideal. How many per class is ideal, Dr. Khairul? If I can ask you again. Cameras turned on. Yes, that's right, Joseph. 15 per class. Yeah, that would be perfect. Smaller discussion groups, Isabel. That's right. Yeah, you guys are so lucky in FPSK. You have the small rooms, good content, good internet. Hologram. Thank you. Yeah. So most of us actually hope that, you know, the technology bits are settled. Yeah, it's a bit more approachable for the students, yeah, untuk go through online teaching. Yeah, it's more fantastic to have, you know, face to face, but yeah. Ideally, yeah, stable internet access. That's right. So if you notice, your answers is all about environment, the environment in which you know, we would like that teaching scenario to be like, yeah. And what do you call it? The things, the tools that would enable this to happen, like for instance, the internet, the access to PCs or laptops, you know, how well students' technology skills would be able to deal with all these things, yeah? So keep that in mind. I want you to hold that thought, yeah, about your ideal remote teaching scenario, and we're going to revisit this at the end of this talk. So I'm just going to run through a little bit with you. Now, how learning works. Those of you who are familiar with the courses that we teach in PGDIP, you know what this is, yeah? In learning, there has to be a chunk of, you know, the content that we're trying to teach, which is the input. And then from that input, there must be some kind of an activity in which we get the students to use what they are learning, yeah? And this is where the making mistakes come in, you know, and the correcting, the feedback and what have you happens. And obviously at the end, we want to measure whether the students get the input that, you know, they have been presented with. So now, how teaching works. I'm sorry, this appears quite green. Is it horrible on the screen? Is it okay? All right, sorry. What do you call it? Look at the green boxes. The green boxes is how teaching works. And what we do is we need to do the preparation first before the input happens, before the activity happens, before the testing happens. And this preparation is not really seen by the students. We do this in our own time, in our own effort, in the way that we know how. Yeah, so this preparation thing happens, and then we go to the instruction and practice, where we conduct all the three things, which is the input, activity, and testing. And we make sure that, that there is some kind of a communication, some engagement that happens, so that students will actually understand the content knowledge that we're presenting to them. And the last bit is the assessment and transfer, which is really about how we're going to measure. Yeah, a lot of mistakes, I would say, that I've seen in the many years I've been teaching PGDIP, is that when I talk to the novice lecturers, people who just started teaching, a lot of time we confuse what should be input and what should be activity. Yeah, kadang-kadang the activity is so busy that it actually doesn't address the input. Ya, input ni adalah the actual thing that we're teaching. The activity is how we engage them and how we get them to use what we're teaching. Ya, jadi ini adalah satu skill yang kita perlu. This is what we call pedagogical skills. Yang mana it has to be coherent with the goals that we want to achieve through our courses. Yeah, and obviously this has got to be congruent with the tests that we want to have at the end of the learning. So macam mana pula later dia akan transfer this knowledge into a different setting. That is the ideal bit, yeah, yang mana they can actually use what we're doing in this course, katakanlah, for another course with somebody else. So these are things that we have to juggle. The green boxes are the things that we have to juggle as instructors, yeah, as instructors. Now, I break it down a bit further. Those of you who have done PGDIP with me, you know, I think a lot of you would recognize these words. When you do the preparation, you are working on the gaining of attention, you're informing the objectives, you stimulate recall of prior learning. All these things have to be planned. How do you attract students to want to learn with you? Yeah, how do you attract students to the content that you're teaching? How do you present? If you go to the instruction and practice, how do you present it? How do you make it work? Yeah, how do you make it understandable? How do you provide the learning guidance? Now, a lot of times, the literature that we've been reading and also observations that we've done in schools particularly, is that the learning guidance is the one that a lot of teachers do not address. I'm not too sure about the university because we're not really talking about this, but a lot of examples that has been seen, that has been commented on, are talking about presenting the learning stimulus but neglecting the learning guidance. Yeah, learning guidance ialah bila kita gunakan the stimulus and to make sure that they actually understand what they're learning. Yeah, and then from there we elicit the performance. Bagaimana kita tengok apa yang dia belajar, what they actually understand, and to use it in a situation, in a scenario, in a context, in a setting, just to test to see whether their comprehension is at the level where we need them to be. Yeah, and then obviously the last bit is the feedback. Feedback is very, very important. Kalau feedback tak ada, it's almost like you're just reading a magazine. Yeah, feedback tak ada, it's like you're just reading, you know, a newspaper and that's it. It's just information. It's not actually knowledge that is sinking in. I understand that knowledge is not something that people would automatically get. Like, you know, it's getting knowledge is almost like macam kita, you know, when you go out running or jogging, yeah, people run on the same track. Yeah, you can see people who are fast, people who are slow, people who take their time, people who stop and stare and continue again. This is what's happening with our learners. Yeah, the track is the same, apa yang kita sediakan, yeah, which is our learning content. Tapi bagaimana the students are actually following that track, it depends on their stamina. It depends on their interest. It depends on what they are emotionally attached to. Kalaulah katakanlah they love birds and you ask them to go jogging, obviously bila nampak, you know, a group of you know, different types of birds on trees that they lalu, they will stop and stare. Yeah, they stop and probably take pictures even. So this is all the things that we have to consider bila kita mengajar. Yeah, that the students menggunakan different competencies and interests, and obviously this leads to their motivation as well in terms of bagaimana dia nak invest their time and effort in the course that we're doing. Yeah, so the last bit is the testing, which is this is where we try to find out, like, how much is it that they're learning, yeah, from us? How do we assess this performance? And what kind of performance are we looking at? Are we looking at the way that they write? Are we looking at the way that they talk about it? Are we looking at the way that they argue something? Now, a lot of assessment modules yang kita dah nampak ialah dia tak congruent. It's not congruent with what we are doing in the instruction and practice. Ya, yang mana kadang-kadang bila when you come up with activities, when you're creating the learning guidance, what happens is that you teach them, katakanlah to talk about a topic. Yeah, to talk about a topic. They elaborate, they talk about the definitions, the different concepts, how different people argue things. Yeah, so that happens in the learning guidance, and the feedback is also about that. Yeah, the eliciting performance, the feedback is also about talking. When come to assessment, tiba-tiba it's a writing test, writing assessment. This is where dia punya learning skill tu is not congruent. Sebab apa yang kita buat ialah X, apa yang kita test adalah Y. Yeah, so this I think needs to be incorporated properly bila kita plan the course itself before the course starts. So it's always useful to have your own plan. Yeah, macam mana you're gonna run your lessons. Now that people do not wanna or do not prefer untuk duduk dengar sampai 5 jam 6 jam punya lecture. So how do you deliver this? How do you put it together for an online format? Yeah. So untuk the first bit, which is the preparation, you can communicate with students at least a day before your class. Yeah. Make a list. Dalam WhatsApp, I always do this. Dalam WhatsApp, I would have a list. I will say tomorrow's our class. This is what we're going to do. And I would expect you to read blah, 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 or I want you to watch blah, blah, blah. So all these things are prepared ahead of time. Yeah. So tell them what they are expected to do before they come to class. So in that way, kita pun rasa macam at least we have told them. Whether they buat ke tidak is a different story tau. So tapi at least the preparation is there. Then they would know what are the objectives, yeah, and then they would know that this maybe relates to something that they've learned in a previous class or previous lesson, previous course. All these things are prepared ahead of time. Yeah, upload your materials ahead of time and tell them where do you want them to look at the materials. A lot of times we see ELIP being populated with many reading materials. Now, year in, year out, students would say like, we actually don't read what you put because we don't know what you want. Yeah, jadi it's useful to have a little explanation about what is it that you want students to get out from the readings. Yeah, just a simple instruction to say that, can you tell me one key point from this reading? You know, can you summarize in 40 words what this reading means to you in terms of the unit that we're going to be covering, in the in the class today. You know, so at least ada direction. Jadi dia pun rasa macam dia tak buang masa, ya. Instead of us dumping reading materials banyak dalam ELIP. So a tip. All right, now providing input. Input is where we want to present, what we know dalam the content that we're teaching. Now, when we want to gain their attention, use some kind of an ice breaking. I use a lot of Miro. I use a lot of Mural, MURAL. Because they have beautiful templates on there where when I get students to come in, they can actually use the templates and they can brainstorm using sticky notes. Those of you who have been in my PG Deep class last year, you know how I love sticky notes, and you've been to the gamification center where we use all these movable boards and stuff, and it's very frustrating not to be able to do that. Yeah, so one of the alternatives that I found is when we use an interactive online whiteboard where we get students to use it, because some of them ada template yang sesuai. Some templates is actually quite useful for them to think about what they know. Macam there's one template that I really like, and I use this a lot with my final year project students. It's called idea prioritization. It's called idea prioritization, where I get them to brainstorm all of the ideas that they have about their FYP, and then I bring them to the graph, and then I say, based on these things that you want to find out, can we plot on this graph, nak tengok yang mana satu yang can be prioritized, and then which of these is actually doable in your project. So that saves a lot of time, because they feel they're invested in the idea construction in FYP. So and these are some of the things that you guys can also try out as well. The presentation of the learning stimulus, I tend to go towards recording the videos. The chunk, the learning chunk that I would like my students to learn. Jadi it's easier when when they have the opportunity, they can go on YouTube and they can they can download, they can watch it. They don't have to download even. They can just watch it at their own time. So the preparation of the videos ideally should come at least a week before your actual class. So you have that time for them to digest the learning the learning process, the learning content itself. So when we're providing the learning guidance, this is where I normally use my live classes. My live classes, I don't present the content anymore. The live classes are actually where I get them to answer interactive quizzes. I use Kahoot a lot. I subscribe to the premium version of Kahoot because I find that you're able to actually have interactive lesson, and then this template is only available in the premium version. And what you can do is you can get them to answer quick questions, stimulus, throughout the session, and you can pause, you can stop, you can ask them to give feedback, apa yang dia tak faham, and then all these things are actually related to the YouTube videos that I've already prepared for them. So if they have gone through the YouTube videos ataupun dah tengok 1-2, kadang-kadang dia tak tengok semua pun, dia tengok 1-2, when they come to me in the live class, they have an idea of what exactly they need to learn. So that provision of the learning guidance would happen during the live classes. So give a lot of scenarios for them to understand the input that they need to digest for that week or for that unit that you're teaching. So the activity bit is where you elicit performance. You have to create some practice activities, create some ways that students would be able to see how much do they understand about the learning chunk that they are learning. How much do they remember? How much are they able to apply it in a situation? So you give them this practice space. It can be dalam ILIP. It could be just a series of quizzes. I use that a lot as well. A series of quizzes, and then make sure ada feedback. So round it up at the end of the week. You put a little bit of a summary to tell the students that you actually see them doing the quizzes. You actually see them trying. And then these are some of the common mistakes. Even if it's on Google Form. If you prefer to use Google Form tu tak apa, it's okay. Tapi kan ada Google Form tu ada analysis. You can use that analysis because a Google Form can tell you which ones of the quizzes, the items that students would have the most problems with. Use that in your summary so that they would know that you are paying attention, you're trying Jadi and then kalau macam dia tak participate pun, dia tahu kata okay, ini adalah problematic, and mungkin dia akan minta kita datang balik to that area. Yeah, so there is a way for us to macam test or to see how much exactly do they know about the learning chunk. Yeah. And the last bit is on the testing, which is where you can create one quiz after your live session. You can have one quiz at the end where you can say, you know, just to measure how much you understand about this content. Let's do this quickly, yeah, with the rest of the class. It can be take home, it can be assigned towards the end of the class itself. But what I want to draw your attention on is on the enhancing the retention and transfer. Yeah, this is where kadang-kadang kita selalu komen dekat campus where kenapa ya student dah year 3 yang dia belajar year 1 year 2 tu langsung tak ingat. Yeah, this is because the retention and the learning transfer tu mungkin tidak begitu effective, and that's the reason why they cannot bring it to whatever that they're learning right now. So this is where we need to do a bit of homework lah. Create some scenarios, examples where they actually need to solve something, they need to tell you what they think, they need to show you how it works. Yeah, the reason why a lot of times they don't connect is because they don't relate. Yeah, they don't connect because they don't relate, and then it's our job to make them relate. Macam mana kita nak make sure yang yang kita ajar, whatever that we're teaching, they can say, oh, you know what, I actually went through this, I didn't understand it, now I know that my classmates are also struggling with it, yeah, and now I can see maybe there is a way for me to use this knowledge that I'm learning, yeah, in a context that I can relate to. This is something that this is where your creativity comes in. Yeah, this is where you can use your imagination really as to how you can spice this up and make it fun and even playful. Yeah. So how do you reimagine remote teaching, and how to, at the same time, I put the word here, how to, the question here, how to stay relevant and sane at the same time, because it has been a struggle. I will tell you this. I've been teaching, for the past 20 odd years in UNIMAS. Those of you who know me, I came to UNIMAS in 1994. This is my first job. I think I'm going to retire at this job as well. And last year, 2020, and perhaps this year as well, is I think the most challenging year ever in teaching, and it's very hard to keep your sanity intact really, when there's so much pressure to do well, but at the same time you go like, oh my God, there's so many things that I need to relearn. Yeah. So going back to this, input, activity, testing, we need to judge this out. Yeah, you need to judge this out. Macam mana kita nak make sure that what we are providing the students are good content yang you chunk in order for them to understand. Ya, jangan letak semua sekali all at one go. Pecahkan. Yeah, make it to become something which is bite-sized. Sekarang the buzzword right now is bite-sized, yeah. Small little chunks, yeah. And then introduce it slowly to the students, because remember what I told you, students ni macam kita buat running track lah, yeah. For the course is the running track. Ada yang berlari, ada yang berjalan, ada yang makan sambil berjalan, So we have to cater for this, yeah. We have to cater for this, and remember, you need to not control this process. Ya, dia tak macam masa kita di dalam kelas where we can control the process, where we can say, okay class, let's take a break 5 minutes, we'll come back again after this. Tak ada. Yeah, in online classes, you are expected to go on and on and on. Yeah, and so the same thing as your activities. Make the activities, jangan pakai activity yang sama all the time. This is where you can become creative. Yeah, and find what are the things that you can do to make it a bit more playful, but at the same time, it's not losing the gist that you're trying to teach. Yeah, and also in testing as well. So I think the pandemic has also enabled us to read a lot more than we could even before this. Kalau dulu kadang-kadang kita baca sekali lalu je kan, reading materials about our content. Tapi sekarang sebab things are all online, we don't have any reason not to find out about things. Kalau tak tahu, kita boleh tanya. So that's the reason why kalau boleh kita focus on making our content expertise tu stronger and stronger while we're teaching online, because this will come into the way that you are teaching the students. The students will know if they are learning from a person who understands something really, really well, and this come off very, very easily dalam teaching, whether it's online ataupun offline. So in the preparation bit, prepare your contents plus a brief summary. Bagi sikit macam teaser lah, what is it they're going to be learning dalam unit 1, unit 2, unit 3. So you maintain that throughout all the units that you're going to be teaching, and then bring liveliness of a class environment into the session. What I do is very simple. Dr. Fataya, who sits next to my room in the faculty, she listens like every time I start my class. I would start my class at least half an hour or 20 minutes before the actual time. And then I would turn on songs that they like. And the students actually like it, and they come in just to listen to the songs, and walaupun it's false hope, nobody's gonna be singing or whatever, tapi sebenarnya they enjoy it because they feel like, oh my God, there's a space for them to tunggu sekejap, while waiting for the class to begin. And then the other thing is call on the student's name. I feel that this the best thing about teaching remotely is that I don't have to guess students' names, because every box would have their name. Every box would have their name, and you can call on these names. There are some instructors who have been very creative using the wheel. You can put in their names and you can main the wheel. Boleh juga. It's fun. And take time off when you begin the class to talk about things which is off topic. Tak payah tentang kelas terus, something about what they're doing or something that is on the headline on the day itself. So make it a bit more human, So it's not really about the course itself saja. And on the instruction and practice, I suggest that you can use point-based system to help them quantify the learning targets. You can do this to say, okay, if somebody finished task 1, task 2, task 3 katakanlah untuk a certain unit, you will get X number of points. Jadi dia nampak progression, they can see the progression of their effort. Motivate students with rewards and praises. Students enjoy this. I notice if we continuously do this in the class, tapi don't do the same thing all the time. You have to vary it. The way that you praise them, the way that you reward them, use different ways of saying you're doing a great job, you're doing a fabulous job. So have this positivity flow, in within the way that you're teaching. So a single positive comment lets a student know that their course instructor is still invested in their learning. I believe in this. In all of my classes, whenever students send me message, email, dalam WhatsApp, walaupun kadang-kadang lambat dia orang hantar responses and stuff like that. When they reply, I always tell them that, you're doing a great job. Thank you for working so hard. Thank you for, investing time on this. Because when they hear us saying that, they feel that we are paying attention. Kalau dalam kelas kita boleh pay attention sebab kita boleh tengok, we can see them physically in front of us. Tapi bila on the screen, we don't know when they're going to be reading the message. Jadi when they read the message, walaupun you tengah marah, dengan maybe kerja dia very lousy or whatever, use positive words first. Use positive words first when we're giving feedback, katakanlah, ya, to get them to not give up. That's the one thing that kita tak nak. Kita tak nak dia give up. Ya, kita tak nak dia halfway they pull out and kata macam, oh, I don't want to study this because I cannot tahan. You know, so that's the one thing that I think we can slowly do, yeah, dalam our conversations with students. And the assessment and transfer, like I said tadi, use your creativity in the way that you want to measure what they know. Yeah, you can also use online peer review. I use this a lot. When I use online peer review, I come up with the rubrics, and then sometimes rubrics are quite skeletal. Yeah, and then I tell them, okay, the points are like apa nama? Ada 5. So you tell me what should be the point 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, so they decide. Kadang-kadang if you notice, students punya evaluation is more strict than the instructor. So it's quite interesting to see how kita come in and buat interventions untuk help them understand what they're doing. And you can also use this virtual scoreboards and apa nama, keep one scoreboard throughout the semester. You can letak siapa top person for this week, siapa top person for the next week, you know, so you can rotate the names, you know, and get them to be more involved. Jadi students appreciate bila kita sebut nama mereka. Yeah, when they know that we actually acknowledge that they are working hard on the work that we are assigning to them. Yeah. So this is an example of apa nama, my one of my units that I was teaching this past semester, which is instructional design, instructional technology course in FSKPM. And then my instruction is that I will tell them what is the week is about, and the link to the materials is here. And then I tell them we're going to meet Zoom meeting. And then I said I did not, for this week, the one that I'm showing to you, I did not buat YouTube videos. Just as how normally dalam kelas saya can buat YouTube videos, I can explain all of the slides. Tapi what I did for this 1 week, and I wanted to show you, is I changed it into a cartoon. Jadi I used Pixton, Pixton, and then I came up with this. It took me about an hour, I think, for each of this. So dia different topics, apa nama, but it explains the gist of what they need to do. So dalam class, when I meet them online in the live class, I talk about the main things that they have read through the cartoon. Ya, jadi content dia tak lari pun. So reading material dah ada dalam e-lib, and also this cartoon is to help them see what are the main things they need to understand. Okay, so in my last bit of the talk is about how do we make sure that things are normal, and how do we apa nama, use social interaction dalam kelas. Now I want to highlight this importance about incorporating gratitude as part of your pedagogy. Yeah, gratitude as a pedagogy, meaning that now a lot of people are feeling worried. You know, family members are affected by COVID. Either some family members have passed because of COVID. Parents lost work because of COVID. There's a lot of uncertainty and the security, the insecurity that students are facing. Not all, but a lot of them. Not all, but a lot of them. But this doesn't mean that we should discount our responsibility as an educator. So bila kita integrate gratitude as part of the pedagogy, the students feel at least macam there is a safe place. Yeah, when they are with us in our class, there is a safe place in which they can have someone who will say something positive to them at that point in time. Ya, walaupun kita punya live class tu cuma 30 minit, tapi at least it's a positive space for them to hear someone bagi tahu, kata, okay, you're doing well. Maybe you can try a bit harder by doing blah blah blah. Ya, jadi cara kita nak cakap tu, I think kena kena ingatlah. We have to remember that the students' well-being is at the center of this. Yeah, at the center of the way that we construct our pedagogy. So it's not about us. It's also about it's the students, because they are the product of our work. Yeah. Now, infuse the online space with genuine humanity. Yeah, because kita tak tahu what's going on in their houses. We don't know dia share laptop dengan adik-adik, for instance. You know, kita tak tahu dia punya internet connection. Kenapa, asyik tak stabil. You know, kenapa they don't make an effort to go to, some other place bila nak study, katakanlah. These things are actually beyond us. Tapi apa yang kita boleh buat ialah kita prepare the best that we can. So the ideal bit, macam katakanlah nak sediakan input tadi, ya. Make sure you record your lectures. Bila masa dia nak access, it's really up to them. But at least when they want to do it, when they want to go through the content is available. Yeah, the content is available. And ask yourselves this, what you can use this in your sessions. What's the most meaningful thing that you've learned, in this unit, in this session? What is the muddiest point? Those of you dalam PG Deep, saya tanya ni, what was the muddiest point? Apa yang paling you tak sure, yeah? What are you grateful today? What are you grateful for today? Yeah, what are the things that you feel you feel blessed for? Ya, sebab kadang-kadang bila kita tengok things in a way that we want to achieve when we want to achieve something, kita punya learning goals, kadang-kadang kita lupa tengok, you know what, actually all these are blessings. Yeah, small little blessings yang kita should be grateful for. Yeah, so and then you can ask even like, what do you wish to learn more? If you have a group yang memang motivated, ask them, what is it that you wish to know more? Yeah, what is it that you learn from outside the class that you can bring here? So offer that as well. Kadang-kadang they see perspective yang kita tak nampak. Sebab kita sebagai instructor kadang-kadang our insights are quite tunnel vision kadang-kadang, ya, kadang-kadang on some kita pun tak tahu semua, ya. Jadi minta diorang bawa what they are experiencing. Mungkin they see things outside of the class that they can actually transfer into what we're learning right now. Yeah, so create that opportunity so that they can see that, yeah, that we are appreciative of their effort. Okay, next one. Do. Show your face. Show your face, show your face. Jangan you switch off camera. Joseph, kita appreciate students buka kamera, kita pun kena buka kamera jugalah. Ya, walaupun students tak buka kamera is fine, kan? Tapi kita kena buka kamera. Because you know why? This is the normalcy. Bila normal mengajar pun, you still have somebody sitting in front of you, mengajar, bercakap, ya. Jadi that is normal. Have that presence, ya, so that dia tahu kata this is not a recording, lecturer ni ada, ya, lecturer ni tengah bercakap, ada depan saya ni, ya. Whether dia tengok recording tu on a different time pun tak apa, it's okay, tapi masa kelas buka kamera. Yeah, so that they can see your face. Open your live class 15 minutes before your schedule kalau boleh. Yeah, this is where they can talk to each other. You just tell them, this is your free time. You can talk to your friends. It's fine. You don't have to listen in if you don't want to. It's okay. Yeah, and then this is very important. This is also what I learned through teaching remotely. Leave the live class session open until all the students leave. All the students leave. Meaning that you jangan bila dah habis pukul 11, you tutup semua. Yeah, okay, thank you class, see you next week, tutup. Leave meetings terus, end meeting terus. No, leave it on until all the students leave. Because you know why? Macam dalam kelas, in normal kuliah, there will be 1-2 students who will come up to you, and ask, okay, tadi saya tak faham, tapi saya tak berani tanya. You know what I mean? So macam mana kita boleh address this? Stay on sekejap, yeah. Wait until all of them have left, because there will be that 1-2 student yang akan tanya after class, yang mana dia malu nak tanya semasa kelas. Yeah, so remind the students things that they need to complete. Memang akan banyak assignments. Kalau boleh prioritisekan the assignments for them. You can do that as well. Yeah, check if they need help. Kadang-kadang they miss assignment deadlines because there are some things that they cannot cope with. Macam last week, I just found out one of my undergraduate students, the whole family was tested positive for COVID. So she's the only one who didn't get it because she didn't come out from her room, so, but it's traumatizing for her because, there's a lot of things that she cannot do in the room, and then she has to stay in the house, and then she has to stay in her own room, and then the whole family, affected. So things like this, kita tak experience, tapi students have experience, yeah. Ask them how they're coping learning from home, for instance. Tanya them soalan. Yeah, you have a space, ada table untuk untuk belajar, ada tempat, ada light tak untuk belajar? Yeah, electricity stable tak dekat rumah? Because there are some of them yang duduk di kampung, electricity tak stable. So bagaimana, what are the things that they can do? Kadang-kadang bila you're stuck in a situation, you don't know how to get out. Jadi mungkin dengan bercakap dengan kita boleh maybe cari different ways untuk mereka connect with us, yeah. Create something fun together. I love this. I really do this dalam my classes, where the online whiteboards are the focal point in the class itself. Because when students come in and they use the online whiteboard, they feel that they are part of that construction process. Yeah, they're part of that construction process. Dia tak rasa macam dia just dengar. They feel like, actually I can say something. Actually I can write something. Actually I can, other people can see what I'm writing. So that fun bit is the one that I think students appreciate. Yeah, students appreciate. And yeah, almost to the end now. I'm sorry. Dr. Mazlina, am I all right? Masa lebih sikit? Dr. Mazlina?
Okay. Tak apa, it's okay. Dr. Fitri, just proceed. Yeah, no
problem. Sikit je lagi.
No problem.
Sorry. All right. And how do you plan for the new semester? Find out dulu what courses you're teaching, who you're going to be teaching, what are the courses that they have done before. This is needs analysis lah, guys. Yeah, those of you who have done PGD with us, instructional design, the first thing is you need to analyze what you have. Yeah, you have to analyze the resources. You need to know your students. You need to know what you're teaching. So find out the nature and the scope of the courses that you have, and then create your instructional plan. You kena ada plan. You cannot go into class without a plan. Yeah, find out what exactly you want to show to the students, and how you're gonna activate the learning. Yeah, apa learning task yang akan dibuat, apa assessment yang akan dibuat at the end. Macam mana you nak tahu whether the assessment fits the CLO of the course. Yeah. Explore your options. This is where it needs a bit of time. Orang tua macam saya, it takes a lot of time. So I depend quite a lot on Kiman to tell me what is it that works. Yeah, and the tools and strategies that we can use with these things. It's trial and error. Not all tools out there are suitable for us. Because kita semua ada preferences sendiri. So but the thing is, you need to know what's out there. Kalau you don't try, you don't know. Yeah, this is one thing also that I learned from the pandemic, is that we need to challenge ourselves to try new things. Memang dia susah. Yeah, memang dia susah. A lot of times the learning curve is very steep, tapi I think it's worth it bila kita dah tahu. Then you can say, okay, this is not for me. I don't want to do it. You know, then you can make a decision to say that, oh, I don't have time for this. Tapi kalau kita tak cuba, and then bila orang introduce something new, you go like, oh, tak nak lah. You know, so it doesn't make sense. Make an educated decision by trying. Yeah, cuba and find out if it works for you. It works fine. If it doesn't, then you know what? Just leave it off. Yeah. Communicate your concerns. Now, this is also one thing that saya notice kita kadang-kadang kita lupa nak cakap dengan students lah. I have one particular scenario yang mana students sebenarnya sangat concern about dia punya grade. Yeah, I noticed this trend since bila kita berhenti mengajar face to face masa March tu. The outstanding students in my class, the ones who normally get straight A's, yang 3.5 above CGPA, they were the ones with the most stress because they cannot cope with the different way of learning. Yeah, talk to them. Yeah, the chances are because they are kind of blinded to want to achieve the grade that they forget to be sane. They forget to to level themselves and try to realign. What is it that they want and how are they going to achieve what they want? Because dia punya concentration pada selalunya dalam normal semester dia akan target untuk A. Dia nak A saja. Yeah. So kalau tak di kelas, macam mana dia nak make sure lecturer kenal dia? For instance, macam mana dia nak make sure yang lecturer akan bagi markah tinggi untuk dia? Sebab dia tak tahu markah tinggi tu akan datang daripada mana. You see what I mean? So these are the things that I think we need to keep talking to the students. Kalau you feel that they are, they are signs yang mana they are, failing off, they are distracted, they are looking at different ways of, managing or dealing with their online learning, this is where you can raise a flag lah and maybe bercakap dengan students. Yeah, this is important. Saya rasa kalau if you can call the students up and then find out. Yeah, kadang-kadang they will tell you when it's a private session, and obviously evaluate and reflect. Yeah, on your effectiveness. That's my last point. We have to relook all the time. Dia one size fit all memang tak jalan lah. Yeah, there's no one size fit all anyhow. So what works in my class may not work for you because maybe your comfort level and my comfort level for the tools that I'm using are different. Yeah. Jadi it really depends on what you want to do. Yeah, what you want to do, what you're able to do. And I think we keep that in mind. Macam tadi saya mention I like to videotape my input tadi, yeah, the things that I'm teaching. So this is actually data from tech data. I got it, I screenshot it, and it does say if you look at the minutes, yang paling tinggi engagement ialah bila minutes tu dalam less than 15, less than 10 kalau boleh. Yeah, less than 10. Jadi keep your videos short. Jangan buat videos yang panjang-panjang, melilit-lilit, no. Pendek-pendekkan, tak apa. It's okay. Yeah, a few slides berhenti. Yeah, so at least students ada chance untuk tengok whenever they can, and they know that each chunk tu ada part-parts yang lain. Yeah, and then if you ada masa, you explain part ni bercakap tentang apa. Yeah, this part talks about what. So you give a bit of a description so that students akan react. Yeah, and if you want to keep your videos succinct, you can do a script, you can do a storyboard to help you explain, the content that you have. Focus on single topics, single objectives. Jangan cita-cita tinggi sangat. Saya selalu mention ni dalam my PG Deep class. Jangan cita-cita tinggi sangat. We want to teach the world. Tapi even dalam face to face pun sama juga. Single, one at a time. One topic, one objective, one at a time. And then organize it. Yeah, so that there's a flow to the presentation. Ya, walaupun presentation tu pendek-pendek 10 minit, 10 minit, 10 minit, tapi ada flow. Ya, and then create a table of content kalau rajin to help them navigate. Ya, dalam the videos itself, so they can know kat mana they can pay attention. So this is my last slide actually. A tip to survive, well, a bit lah, yeah, to survive another semester or perhaps another year of remote teaching, is that when you have time, do this for yourself. You know, tell yourself, what is it I want to focus on? Yeah, I will focus on what? The next question, the next statement that I want you to think about is, what am I grateful for? Yeah, and the last one, and I think which is most important, is I will let go of what? Yeah, because remember tadi kita bercakap tentang what do you call it? Control. Yeah, we talked about control. A lot of your comments tadi was all about, oh tak boleh nak tahu students faham ke tidak. Tak tahu nak control macam mana kelas, but everything's now online and blah, blah, blah. You know what? This is when you let go. Yeah, because when you start thinking about, this is what I can do, this is what are my limitations, this is what I'm actually grateful for. Yeah, then you will know yang mana satu yang you akan prioritize. So you yourself tak rasa frustrated sangat. A lot of us feel frustrated. Yeah, a lot of us feel frustrated. So, macam saya, because to be honest with you, because I am trained, in pedagogy, and when I cannot teach, it made me feel really, really bad. In the first few months of the MCO, I didn't know what to do, and yet I knew how to teach, you know what I mean? And I train people how to teach. Jadi, what I think is a big takeaway from here is that we need to evaluate what is it that we know now, and how do we want to progress? What is it that is available to us? How much do we actually want this? Yeah, and then what is it that we should be grateful for because of the things that we have? Yeah, and then what is it that you can let go? Yang you tak boleh nak control, you tak boleh nak, you tak boleh nak do much about. The students are not in front of you. Is that your fault? Tidak. Is it anybody's fault? Tidak. Is it your fault that students are worrying about what food on the table for the day? Tidak, it's not. Tapi kita punya responsibility sebagai pencara, sebagai instructor, is that we need to make sure the delivery of our content is good. Yeah, the delivery of our whatever that we're teaching is at the best version that we can produce. Bukannya sap-sap soy. It's not macam cincai-cincai. No, it has to be something which is good and you are proud of. Ya, jangan buat something yang sebab orang lain semua buat, then it's okay. No, I don't think so. This is the time, I think, for us to reevaluate. See where are your strengths. What are the things that you can do, within the time that you have, the effort that you have, to produce, something that is manageable for the students. Yeah. So remember, there are some things that you can't control. Let it go. Yeah, let it go. All right. So that's my last slide, and thank you so much, everybody, for listening in. And it's really up to us. That's my last final statement for today. My slides are here in Wakelet. You can take the QR code. All of the readings that I did to prepare for this session is actually there as well, so you can read them. And so thank you so much. I apologize kalau ada shortcomings. Is there any questions I think I can take questions now, Mazlina. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for inspiring and informative sharing from Associate Professor Dr. Fitri. Sekejap saya turn on saya punya video. Alright. Okay. Okay, there is a question from Dr. Rehman. Have you answered Dr. Rehman just now, Dr. Fitri? Have you answered his question?
I don't think so, sorry.
All right. Okay, he's asking about, he would like to know the details about teaching guidance.
All right.
From your previous slide, yes.
So learning guidance is about how we help students understand the content that they need to master. Yeah. So it's not just the input, but it's also teaching them how to understand the input. Yeah, it's teaching them how to understand the input. This is where your pedagogical skills come in. Yeah, this is where your pedagogical skills come in. How do you come up with activities? How do you ask questions in order for students to understand the input that you're trying to teach them? Yeah, so that is learning guidance. Does that make sense, Rehman?
Let me check whether his answer. Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, okay. There is one more question from Dr. Rohana, Associate Professor Dr. Rohana from Prayu. Dia tanya, bila kita tanya student, katakan student A, lama tunggu. Lalu kita panggil nama lain. Adakah ini menjatuhkan moral student A? Apa cara terbaik untuk handle this situation?
Okay. What is your goal when you ask questions? Bila kita bila kita panggil students, ialah kita nak tahu apa dia punya understanding kan of the time. Kita nak tahu what is it they may have problems with, at that time. Mungkin not on the individual students, tapi on the whole class itself. Jadi bila seorang tak jawab, and then you move on to the next one, I think it's okay. Ya, sebab apa jawapan yang dapat daripada student lain sebenarnya boleh membantu pelajar yang tidak menjawab tadi. Mungkin dia tidak menjawab sebab mikrofon dia tak elok, there's a lot of students who complain about their processors on their laptop, and then the extra equipment macam the microphone, the camera and stuff like that, dia rosak. Obviously they didn't use quality ones kan. Jadi forgive yourself. Tak apalah, kita tak boleh nak reach semua pun, tapi at least kita cuba. The most important thing ialah focus on that feedback. Jadi sebab bila kita tanya tu, kita nak bagi feedback. Jadi focus on the feedback. Kalau dia tak boleh nak jawab, it's okay tu, tak ada masalah. Tak ada masalah. Jadi we just go on to the next one, and then yang paling penting ialah kita punya the quality of the feedback that we give, so that all the students can listen to it, and perhaps they would have further questions that you can also obviously clarify as per needed. All right.
Okay. I think this is not the question, but this is the some comments lah from Dana, from participant Dana J. I agree with the suggestion to show your face, whether in a pre-recorded or live sessions. There's just something about seeing the passionate expression of a teacher in explaining his or her content. I personally feel that a teacher's patience in delivering content will in fact the students as well.
That's right.
Thank you from Dana.
Can I jawab sikit, Dana J? I remember you from the PGDIP class you had with us. It's quite true. It's like macam bila kita tak buka kamera, it's almost like we're hiding. We are the ones hiding from the students, which is I don't think that's right. Walaupun dia punya connection low, tapi kalau kita record, at least the recording would have your face, so they can watch it whenever they want. And I would like to also point out a Twitter that Dana J ada hantar. Kita memang we are not trained to create content. We're not trained to create content. We're not trained. This digital content is not for everybody. Tapi you know what? Because of the situation, this is where, remember, I always mention this dalam PGDIP, time to learn, unlearn, and relearn. This is the time to learn, unlearn, and relearn. There are things which we're not comfortable with, tapi we need to learn this. Yeah, we need to do better, and because we are academics, we're able to do this. Kalau tak tahu, kita tanya orang sebelah. Ya, kita tanya kawan-kawan lain. So we have resources at our feet, essentially. So no excuse for not doing or trying. Yeah.
Another comment, feedback from Associate Professor Dr. Soba. Well said, Dr. Fitri. When students complete their tasks, an expression of praise plays an important role, especially for online learning. Those who couldn't complete, I contact them personally to find out why and assist. Education is for all high bandwidth, medium bandwidth, and low bandwidth with sophisticated devices, mediocre devices, and minimal devices. Yes.
Yes.
And yeah, Dr. Aida said we need a PGDIP refresher course for those who took PGDIP at Campus Kayu dulu. Basically those with the age between 45 to 55. Yes.
Itu kena cakap dengan Dr. Kartini lah.
Assalamualaikum Dr. Fitri.
Waalaikumsalam.
Ramai saya daripada awal tadi saya memang start viewing and listening to your speech today and presentation today, and it seems like most of the participants dia bila Dr. Fitri on dia kata wow, this is like they immediately wanted to join PGDIP already. So you're like the duta lah of PGDIP dah sekarang dah.
Tak tahu lah.
I mean, before we end as well, I would like to actually appreciate and you for agreeing to be the first speaker for our workshop and training for 2021 lah. Memang we need this sort of injection of motivation for our academics as well. Although we have started emergency remote teaching ni daripada March 2020 lah kan. Tapi I think yalah, along the way as what you said, we need to learn, unlearn and relearn. So we need to find, baru tadi pun saya dengan Nur Mazlina ni pun reflect ourselves how to improve our online teaching and learning ni, because we have to go through, we are going through the process of improving ourselves. So don't be too pressure on ourselves as well, because we are here to learn, but as academician we need to always improve, right? And to give the best to our students. So thank you so much for being the sort of drive, injection of drive or motivation for the academics. It seems that semua wrote here, the feedbacks here, inspiring, motivating. Thank you for the sharing, amazing sharing. And I would like to also, the gist of your presentation just now, you focus on the starting from the planning itself, okay? From start until finish. So not emphasize too much on the tools and gadgets. Okay, at the end of the day, of course, you have various tools that you can explore and choose which suit for your own needs or your learners' need. But I think the main aim is that process too, and you can go through the planning, the input, the activities that you have to plan, and of course how you assess students and how you integrate technology in making that happen. So thank you very much. Is there anything?
Yes. There is another one question from Muhammad Faisal, pre-you, I think. Assalamualaikum, Dr. Fitri. One last question. How are we going to leverage online teaching approach between excellent student and not yet excellent student?
My question back to you, Faisal. How do you do that in a normal class? Like, when you're teaching face-to-face, how do you deal with excellent students, mediocre students, and weak students? How do you do that? Can you respond to me, Faisal? You can turn on your mic.
Right? You can Faizal, you can unmute your mic. We have to wait Faizal to respond, Dr. Fitri.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Wan Nurmeza. She's my friend from school.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Wan Nurmeza. Yeah.
Okay. Now, tak apa, it's okay. So going back to Faizal's question, kalau kita ada different, yes saya.
Faizal said, he cannot do that. So sorry, Dr. Fitri, cannot give answer. Okay.
Okay. All right, that's fine. Kalau apa nama, this is an example of tadi punya question lah. Macam mana kalau student tak reply. Okay, now bila kita mengajar the normal class, we tend to have mana students yang memang competent, they're able to run with the content with minimal guidance. There are some who need a bit more than others. Jadi macam mana kita nak handle masa kita mengajar online? Now, bila kita mengajar online, kita tak fokus kepada students yang yang sangat-sangat competent. Kita fokus kepada semua. Ya, kita bagi apa yang kita boleh buat. We can present to everyone. Yeah, everyone in the class. I think this is where we start to address equitable equal opportunity to education. Yeah. Walaupun there are some yang mungkin can do better because of their the tools that they have, tapi the quality of the content again is king. Content kita kena clear. Content kita kena bukan saja untuk pelajar yang excellent, pelajar yang baru nak belajar, baru nak menapak, baru nak try, baru nak cuba, itu pun boleh difahami. So that is where our skills come in as the instructor. So kita kena try and test to see what are the things that work, what are the things that do not work, and then probably there are things that we can improve along the way. So there's no one right recipe for it. Tapi I think at least we make an effort to try and make sure that our content is good. So nobody can say that masuk kelas Dr. Faizal tak faham Dr. Faizal cakap apa. Nobody would say that. So you want to avoid that kind of feedback daripada pelajar. Jadi ataupun daripada sesiapa pun. And this is where kita punya content knowledge is very, very important. Ya, kita punya content knowledge, the way that we know the things that we are teaching. So jangan half-baked. Jangan baca daripada textbook. We have to actually know what we're teaching. Ya, itu yang pertama sekali. Sebab daripada content yang kita tahu, then kita tahu macam mana nak adjust. Ya, banyak mana kita boleh chunk our content kepada our students. Okay, that's it I think. Thank you so much.
Okay. We come to the end of the workshop. So thank you very much, Associate Professor Dr. Fitri Suraya, for your valuable sharing. And I really hope that our participants are able to use all the knowledge and sharing from Dr. Fitri on today's workshop in order to develop new, what we call new transformation for our next semester online teaching and learning. So we hope that you will be getting some inspiration, okay, to conducting the next semester online teaching. And to all participants, I would like to remind everyone that we will have another workshop for the next week at 10 February, entitled Google Tools in Teaching and Learning Series 1 by Dr. Shariza from University Malaysia Terengganu. So I really hope that you can register on our workshop for the next week. So thank you very much for your time and participation in this workshop. And really thankful to Dr. Fitri because you accept our invitation for today.
No problem. Thank you.
Dr. Fitri, you will share the slides and content right, with us?
Yeah, it's already on the waited.
Oh, okay. So later we will share that.
We will email to participants together with the evaluation form All right. So we will share with the video as well. And this video we will upload in our CALM website as well. Right. So thank you very much, Dr. Fitri, for
Thank you.
sharing. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum.
All right.
Thank you to all as
Waalaikumsalam.
well.
Thank you to
Assalamualaikum.
all.